Florida, a verdant and lush tropical paradise. But what good is an inaccessible paradise? Henry Flagler realized the unfortunate answer to that question when he visited Jacksonville on the advice of his physician in 1876. An inaccessible paradise is no good at all. Realizing that there was a profit to be made in opening South Florida to tourism, Henry Flagler quickly acquired backers, hired out-of-work Civil War veterans, and began work on a chain of luxury hotels and, more importantly, the Florida East Coast Railway. The system of rails reached Biscayne Bay in 1886 and its final destination, Key West, in 1912. Flagler still saw more to be done to improve transportation in the Sunshine State. He wasn't content with only one means of transportation for goods and people into the reaches of South Florida. In 1896, Henry Flagler began construction on the Port of Miami to augment his business and tourism in South Florida. The next year, the port was open for cruise lines. By 1916, plans had been approved to make the Port of Miami into the central hub of shipping in South Florida. By the 1930s, the Port of Miami was providing service to both New York and Baltimore. And in 1940, it had its inaugural cruise to Cuba. Even to this day, the Port of Miami remains an integral part of the economy of South Florida.
As the times changed, the automobile came to dominate American movement and transportation, and the American people no longer wanted to ride on the railroads. They now wanted to take their Ford Model Ts. In 1956, President Eisenhower approved the Interstate Highway System. This bill would fund the building of the highways that now connect the nation. I-95 was one of them. Its purpose was to connect the whole east coast of the United States, and it runs south from Key West all the way north to Maine. I-95 would be the main source of travel into the state. Tourists, desperate to escape the cold of the north, would use it in order to come to the tropical paradise of South Florida. Thanks to the I-95 and other highways like the Florida Turnpike, the state still experiences a great influx of tourism long after the accomplishments of Henry Flagler. Miami International Airport plays a major role in moving people and goods in and out of the state. It serves as a major hub for companies such as FedEx and UPS, as well as other major carriers of passengers and cargo. The airport is often referred to as the gateway to Latin America due to its proximity to the Caribbean, as well as serving major airlines from South America. It is the 25th busiest airport in the world, as well as the 12th busiest airport in the United States.
So there you have it, a brief history of transportation in Florida. Of course, there were railroads in the state before Henry Flagler's East Coast Railway, and clipper ships were bringing people to Miami and beyond even before the advent of the port. In order to preserve the brevity of this film, only watershed moments and truly key pieces of infrastructure were touched upon. If any viewer's interest should be piqued by any of the topics discussed in this film, I would encourage them to look further into the history of Florida, as such an enterprise can be very rewarding.